Hey everybody, it's Brandon. So today I'm going to go over collaborative governance, particularly within law enforcement, and how this is relevant to my profession. I think when it comes to collaborative governance, it's particularly important to my profession because when it comes to collaboration between different agencies and different governmental departments that are all operating within a law enforcement capacity, you could have really good intentions, but mixed outcomes. And that's what I kind of want to touch on today. So, in particular, we're going to be going over two main questions that are particularly relevant to my job and my role within the multiple enforcement team. First one is, will there be more resources available if we collaborate, we as in different government agencies? And the second question is, as you can see, will there be better outcomes if we collaborate? So, just a quick little background when it comes to law enforcement, multi agency collaboration and task forces is actually quite common due to a number of reasons that I'll get into in a moment. But especially with my department, with City of Fontana, we operate a lot with the city of Rialto and Upland and Colton and San Bernardino when it comes to a number of different type of operations. But in my position on the multiple enforcement team, I deal mainly in homeless outreach. And when it comes to collaboration, that's especially prevalent in law enforcement when dealing with the growing homeless issue that we see throughout, not just in Fontana, but throughout the entire county. So this is something that I actually do have firsthand experience with is collaborating for the sake of sharing resources and trying to reach a better outcome. So when it comes to the multiple enforcement team, one of the biggest reasons why we do collaboration is obviously for resource availability. A lot of resources that may not be available to certain police departments, like, for example, Rialto and Colton, which are smaller, are resources that my department has. And this doesn't have to go with just homeless outreach. This can go with a number of different things like gain sweeps, right? Or working narcotics cases or conducting surveillance or even more high intense situations like SWAT call outs and things like that. It's because that we have all these resources available to us. We're more than willing to share those with other agencies because their jobs are just as important as mine, but I may have more at my disposal than they do, or even vice versa, depending on the situation. So, in particular, with my job, multiple enforcement team, it's primarily dealing with the homeless. Now, when it comes to dealing specifically with the homeless crisis that we see throughout San Bernardino County in particular, um, one thing that I've noticed is that generally speaking, the more resources that are directed towards this problem, the worse it gets. And we have all the best intentions in the world to do this to improve the situation. However, oftentimes what I've noticed here is that less is actually more. This has to do not so much with resources being provided to other agencies, but really more to the resources that are being provided to the people. Um, the city of Fontana is known for having a lot of resources available and that a lot of other agencies will use for the sake of improving their own homeless issues within their own cities because for our services, they're available county-wide, right? So this, in a way, is good for other agencies because they can use the resources that I have at my disposal. However, it's harder for me because now I have to use my own resources that I normally use for Fontana specific cases to help cases that are originated out of the city, right? So basically, it's like there's more resources available for everybody. However, when there's more of it, then more of it tends to get used and abused and so on and so forth and things like that. So it's almost like contributing to a problem in reality, maybe stepping back is the more proper way to go about it. So when it comes to collaboration, it can be highly beneficial, absolutely, because a lot of agencies can use the resources that other agencies have at their disposal to improve their own situations. But in my case, even though it might be improving other agencies and their situations, it's making my cities worse. So in reality, when it comes to collaboration, overall, it can be a very good thing, but it's a case by case basis, and it could lead to abuse or it could lead to one agency being taken complete advantage of by other agencies because they can't afford their own resources to deal with their own issues. This is just a list of my references. I use Naim, Capucho, and Hiro. Thank you.